Can you guys see the screen? Perfect. So yeah, let's just start it. Like, start asking the question, then I'll try to reply them, kind of explain them.
How about we start with how you start your day and what you mark up? Like when you start this, look at the chart, what you look at normally when you start trading.
Cool. So how do I start my day? Perfect. And what do I look for? All right, good. Let's just get to the questions first, right? Any more?
I didn't understand what you said.
I'm saying that let's just get to the questions first, and then I'll start to like explain those.
For the questions, I looked at one of the messages in the content suggestion. I think that would be all.
Content suggestions. Let me have a look at that.
Okay.
Perfect. Let's just start from how do I start my day, right? So let's just go back probably in there or somewhere which is a bit cleaner for you all to understand. Perfect. So let's just make it out in there, right? So I don't trade the Asia, that's why I wait. Good. So that's why I wait for the Asia to end, and then I don't even trade the Frankfurt. So I come around at probably this one. This is my like timings when I look for the entries, right? So simple things. Why do I wait? I tend to see what the next day has, and right. So in this case, the next day is kind of nice trend line build-ups, which we can see that here, right? Perfect. So sort of channel and trend line as well. I look to the left, right? So we had a nice push up right the last day. So I'll see where are we inducing it. So we induced this structural high, which led to this SMC breakoff structure in there, and then I do have what I do have an IFC level, which is responsible for the inducement of this liquidity right there, right? And then if I tend to mark my point of interest, this would be from this to this, and then obviously I look for the refinement, which can be from here or just take the upper bodies, right? So you see that we do have a perfect mitigation, and then with that a nice little minor inducement with your breakoff structure. Now, right, so this is what I look for the last days, right? Perfect. So this is the framework which I tend to do before I start analyzing the current day, right? So now I look to the Asia, that what are we doing in Asia? So we do have this internal high, right? And with that I do see Asia is kind of bullish, right? So one scenario that like hits in my mind is that a false bullish move in Asia tends to induce this structural liquidity, and then probably mitigating some sort of this point of interest, which is again coming from another inducement of this one and mitigating another inducement point of interest, which took out all this liquidity, right? I hope so far it's kind of really clear, right? And then I just start looking for the point of interest. I do have a nice little point of interest just up the extreme zone, right, with this probably being an inducement level, right? Cool. So let's just start marking EPA level. We came back to the EPA level after this inducement, getting a reaction there, build up of liquidity. We do have support level forming right there. So let's just try to mark this as a nice little support level, right, for the support and resistance traders. Perfect. And then we do have a normal SMC breakout structure as well. Obviously this is going to be as an SMT for me. Perfect. And then I do have a sort of little bit of liquidity right down there as well. And then I won't just start to look for sales after this inducement is done and this minor Asian high inducement. So far this is sort of just a build up of liquidity on a channel. So if I go on M1, you guys can pretty much see that this is the build up of liquidity, right? So now two scenarios, right? Once we take out this loss liquidity, right, a minor inducement to fuel the move. Where's that, man? To fuel the move to go higher. From there, probably mitigating this one, or we can also take this liquidity as well. So at this moment, I'm not looking for sales. It's invalid for me, right? Perfect. Let's just try to like play the price now, right? So far I don't see any great sell setup, right? I still don't see a sell setup. I do have this inducement point, which is just like a liquidity point for this point of interest above, right? So let's just wait for a late cycle. So this would be what? This would be a major build up of liquidity. I want to see a vector push taking out this liquidity into this point of interest to go any lower. There we go. Let's just play the price now. Perfect. So we did what? We took out the liquidity in there, but we failed to mitigate this point of interest. So, and you guys can see that we are still like not in my time windows, right? So I still want to wait for my time window, and let's just mark this also SMT. Why? It is like prior to the London Open, which can act as early sellers for market to induce them into this point of interest again. So I'll mark this as an SMT, and then again let's restart price section. So, and also one more thing is that we do have like an internal EPA level. So now we can do something like this, come back down and then move up. So there we go, mitigates the SMT, false reaction. Well mark, we do have like this sort of continuational zone as well. Again, I won't be taking any sales. So this would be there. We EPA at the level, right? So now I can do what is I can plan to take a buy position towards where? Towards this liquidity point, but I know that the risk to reward won't be that great, so I'll just skip it, right? And then yeah, so far that's it. We do have ton of liquidity down there. We can actually use this point as our TP, and then we have this also, which is which could be a nice liquidity point, right? Let's just try to see. Perfect. So SMT liquidity down there, liquidity down here. So let's just mark this as well, liquidity below. And let's just play a bit more price action. Good. There we go. So we have an so you see that how this inducement is coming from. We have a vector push towards the liquidity area into this possible mitigation. So there we go. We have a nice reaction from there. M1, still we don't have anything valid on M1, so we don't I'll just show you guys this. So yeah, we don't have anything valid on M1 to enter off, so I'll just stay on M5 to make it a bit quick. All right, there we go. Cool. So we do have internal breakout structure in there. So if I mark it as this internal breakout structure, we can possibly get a rejection from this SMT down there. So I'll just wait, right? Where is that, man? Good. So what do I see? I see another sweep of liquidity, probably a minor inducement of this as well, so which is like really good for me to start looking for a trade. So if I zoom in, I hope that you guys can see this small inducement, right? Is it clear? Perfect. So yeah, now I'll just wait for this breakout structure. All right, now I think another inducement. Perfect. And where's that one? There we go. I'll wait for a candle close at this moment, right? Where's that? There we go. So we are inside an SMT. We have a valid breakout structure after this inducement and break there. We are inside an SMT. So if we get a reaction, we don't need to worry. And then most probably we can just break this SMT down. Now to look for the entries, right? This from this low to this would be our IFC level, which if I can go on M15 to show you, would be a nice little order block level, right there. And then if I go on M1, it's a bit messy though. Let's just delete this one. And now if I go on M1, I would like to see some sort of nice supply or demand zone to enter off. So I have this EPA level. I could be entering off this decisional zone, which led to the break-off structure. And then the targets would be what, as I've said, if you guys are trying to play it a bit safer, this Asia low, this would be a reasonable target. Let's just try to set up a target as well. So something like this. Target 1, target 2, and target 3. It all, it's all your personal preference that when you want to take the partials or when you want to close a full trade. Right, so do you guys have like any confusions so far, or is it clear?
Yeah, I'd like to know why you take that zone as our entry zone.
Cool. So what do I see is that, if, as I told you, if I go on M15, this is a nice little IFC level, which is an M15 order block as well. And now if I go on M5, right, what do I see is that I see an internal like sort of order block as well. So there we go. So these would be a nice little entry points, and then if you want to play it safe, you can just move your stop loss to a bit above. But as you know, I see price won't need to go like above this candle, right? Perfect. Is it clear now?
Sorry, but I still didn't get it.
Yeah, I'm a little confused.
Good man. Yeah. It's kind of all right. So we do have this. Let's just take this start. We do have this M15 order block, right? So we do have this M15 order block, right? This one.
Okay, yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Right. Now, if I go on M5, right? What do I see? I see an internal breakout structure right there as well, which will act as our internal IPA level. So this would be acting as my internal IPA level, which will again like act as a resistance for price, right, to go lower. And then with that, if I go on M1, it is aligning with the decisional zone, which led to what? Which led to breakout structure. So from this high to this low, right, we do have this extreme zone, and then we do have this zone, which led to this breakout structure, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. So that was the reason for this entry.
Yeah, okay, I get it now. Thank
Perfect.
you.
No worries.
So
Perfect.
you took the trade off the fair value gap? Is that what that is? Where the inefficiency was?
No. It's a decisional zone, right?
Okay.
Let me just see in the chart as well.
It's a zone which caused breakout structure.
Yes,
I
right.
think that's
Yes,
it.
good. So so if you guys don't get the entry, let's just remove this and wait for price to tap this, order block, M15 order block again, and then we look for confirmation, right? Is that good?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Perfect.
that'd
So,
be better, right?
so cool. So I'll just remove the direct entry. Good. Anyone have like any other question?
Yeah, I just thought like normally when I used to trade smart money concept, usually the order block it makes a fair value gap and it has like a downward or upward displacement. So you know, so that's why I was a little confused. Like it's supposed to break structure, so I thought it would have been that last gray candle to the down. That to me that would have been an order block because it made a break of structure where you drew that line.
Right. So this one, right? This
No,
this one.
the one next to where where the gray circles at.
This or
The
this.
one next to it. The other gray candle at the top. The one that's a
Yeah,
little
I
bit higher.
also take that as a zone. I also take this one
I
as a
thought that
zone.
was
All
an order
right. So
block.
this one, this.
No, bro. The one right next to where
This?
the circle is, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
the gray
yeah that
candle.
Right, cool. So yeah, as I told you, right. So in any leg, right, we do have two kinds of point of interest. So let's just say that we have this leg, right. So one is going to be the extreme zone. Let me just draw it a bit more clear. Where is that other two? Right. So let's just say that we do have this, right. So in this leg, we do have two sorts of order blocks, right. So one is going to be the extreme zone, and then one is going to be the decisional zone, which led to this break of structure.
Right. Okay.
Good.
What does decision zone mean? I don't.
All right.
What does that mean?
It the zone that leads to the break of structure, right?
The zone that leads to the break. So the downward displacement, like the distribution.
Oh man, you're talking ICT, bro.
My bad, bro.
Okay.
I've been a weekend.
Yeah. So the displacement, yes, it's always good, like to see these vector push in any direction after. Right. So one more thing, right? Let's just say that I do have this inducement level right there. Let's just make it a bit bolder, right? So what I want to say is I want to see market approach towards it with displacement and then gets a vector run down, right? So from here, I want to see the vector push coming into the market for this inducement, and then I want to see the rejection from this zone instantly as a vector push. So this one also like adds to a great confluence for an inducement level. So if it's something like this, right, price something like this, price gives this, comes down, and then price can go again up, right? So this is bit low probability for me, right? Cool. So yeah, we'll just wait for price to come back into this M15 order block. I'll just write it there, right? So you don't get confused. M15 order block. Or let's just do it as a supply zone. Bottom right. I'll make it a bit good. So yeah, let's wait for price. There we go, right? So the
Okay, tap back in. I got it. Okay, got it.
right. I hope like it's clear now.
yeah.
Yep.
Perfect. Let me like see the chat again, right? So I hope like
Yeah,
it's.
I have a question.
Yep. Go ahead.
Yeah, whether will you wait for lit cycle to complete before taking the decisional entry, or you will take it
Right.
directly?
So decision. This would be like sort of your late cycle as well. So we do have a minor build-up right up there. We do have like you see that this vector come that I was just saying is we have this vector push up into this M15 order block mitigation. It didn't quite get into the zone that I wanted to, but it did came into that M15 order block into this minor point of interest right there, and then we see that the rejection coming in from there, right?
Yes.
So that is one thing that adds to great confidence for me, right? And then
Okay, after break of structure, you can enter.
yes, so I'd like to enter. Let's just go and see M5 as well. So yeah, taking a nice little entry on there with we trade on M5 order block, and then obviously
okay.
the targets would be somewhere around this, and I just hope that it just don't fucks around and try to go a bit higher. But yeah, I'll definitely take the risk if I do see some sort of this setup, right?
Right.
Cool. So we got tagged in, right? You guys can
Yep, tap in.
perfect. So let's just stay on M5 as well. Let's just say this will be a break of structure. After inducement of this low, I'd like move the stop loss to break even, right? So where is that, man? All right, cool, nice. All right, so there would be a great re-entry as well on M1 as well. So this would be a nice M1 re-entry, but let's just stick to M5 for the time being, right? And then let's just play the price. Or there we go.
Wow.
Stops to the break even. Actually, it did like took this trade live as well. Those. There we go. So all right, so we can actually hedge as well. So it's a bit bad. There we go. Perfect. So again, we have, I think it's like New York something. Yep. Let's go on M1, try to like get a nice re-entry as well. So what do I see? I see some sort of relative equal highs there. I see this is probably these two levels would be great. All right, nice, there we go. Perfect inducement, probably a break of structure in there.
A full candle close is a break of structure.
Yeah, for me it is. This could be your like a nice little re-entry as well. Again, targets would be somewhat same.
Wow.
And then for this to go break even, I would actually want this low to get induced and probably this mitigation of smart money trap. Though, come on, let's just see if we get tapped in. All right, no tap. This will be invalid for me now. I'll just remove this one and let's just move to M5. There we go. Nice. It's like forming, but good now. All right, let's try to focus on M5. Minor sweep of liquidity. Where is that? We do have another. So far I don't see any confirmation for price to go lower. Where's that play button? There we go. This would be a nice, this would be somewhat nice though.
Nice build up.
Probably kind of missed this one, but this would be a nice re-entry as well. Up it just damn.
Wow.
Cool. So this would have been a really good re-entry with tighter stops. And then yeah, it's like kind of same thing. Asia low. All right, so now one thing, right? Once we take out some sort of liquidity, we always expect to get a reaction, right? So if price now starts like get a bit of pullback, I see a lot of traders try to buy from there, right? That's a bit of invalid, right? Yes, you can buy from there, but you need to know like from where price can like end up giving that pullback and starts go lower, right? Where is that, man? So we had, you see that we had a couple of sort of bullish candles, and I see a lot of traders trying to enter there. It's just like catching for the knife. There we go. So this would be some sort of nice sell entry as well. So inducement of this one. Let's just go on M15, try to see what's happening like on M15. We have let's just make it this one right there. So one scenario is that price can come up there and then go down, right? Yep, that's it for me. If I want to like look for another sell entry, this would be a high probability sell entry after this level is tapped. Though we can like get a nice sell entry as well in this whole region on M1 lit cycle like this, but that would be a bit low probability for me because I don't have any much of the confluences. Same thing, well up inducement. Let's just play this one. Nice. Now it's like try to get a bit clear now. Come on, tap my level there. Cool. So yeah, no worries. So you see that kind of a lot of traders try to enter like from this order block right there for the buy, etc., because they see this inducement of all this liquidity, but that is wrong, right? You need to understand that if price is taking any sort of liquidity, it is going to give a reaction. So if we take an example in this Asia session, right? So it took out this liquidity, right? So what did it do? It gave you a reaction, right? So you always get sort of reaction, but every inducement, right, reaction is not always going to be a proper trade or a nice setup. Still, there we go. Dang, sorry. Now this would be something interesting, right, to see in the markets. Kind of choppy, it's better to stay away. Man, let's go on 5 again. There we go. So this would be our first partial zones, right? Now again, right, we took some liquidity, right? We took out this close. So what can we expect? We can expect a reaction, but we aren't confirmed so far that is it going to be a proper reversal or no. So I kind of see this as liquidity as well, trend line liquidity. So there we go, we are getting sort of reaction, and then just, you know, New York continue the London's move, and then the new session, the new day, right? So this is how like I go through my day up, like it's clear for everyone. Yep. Any other questions?
Yeah, how did you choose the bias as sell for this?
What? Sorry.
Your bias, daily bias, how do you choose it?
Right. So I look for the inducements that we are doing in the previous days, right? So as where is that stuff, right? So what can we see in this pretty much 2 days? We don't have any inducement, we have a build up, right? So if you can see this as a bigger cycle, we have a build up of liquidity, inducement with the vectors. Now what can we say? We can say a nice little inducement of this low as well, and then I try to, you know, add it to the other conferences, like where the inducement is happening and then where is it coming from, right? So this is how I do it.
I do get it for this day, but if you had to take the trade from 2 days before, how did you have done it? Can you show that as well from the day of that build up?
Where in here?
No, one day, yeah, that day.
This here, right? So simple
Yeah.
thing, right? So where are we? Cool. So what do I see? I see a higher time frame inducement level. Probably let's go on H4 something.
I'll have this guy when I go to. But it sells good, but it's not the true bit.
So
Phoenix,
you're saying something to me?
Original. In Phoenix.
Yep, just said good, right? So what do I see? I see this low getting induced, right? So let's just go on M15 now. We had a nice inducement right there. Yep. Yes, bro. Good.
Can you ask the question or not disturb, please?
Sorry.
No, I'm saying the one who is about to talk, but it's not talking. Is kind of disturbing. So if you have question, please ask. Then please don't disturb. I was just saying that. No, you can continue. You can continue.
Good. I hope now it's his mic is mute because I just tried to do it. Right, good. So what do I see? I see a nice little, sorry, not little, but we had a great inducement up there, right? So the very first thing is to identify the liquidity. So you are asking that how will I trade this day or this day?
The previous one.
This one, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. So as I told you, after any inducement, what do we get? We always get a sort of reaction. Now, how we can say that when the reaction is over is when we have the same thing to the opposite side. So simple as that. Breakout structure, normal SMC breakout structure. This would be like their supply or demand zone. This high led to this inducement low will act as an SMT. Perfect. And then we do have nothing valid in there as well. So if I'd like to take out this as my supply zone, I see no inducement or no liquidity being generated near this supply zone. So this one is also invalid for me. And then we do have this extreme zone, which is again coming from where? Which is again coming from this inducement and then breakout structure. So now I'll just try to wait for this one, marked out that, marked out this one. So let's just go back. yes. Let's just go back to this day. Where is that? Which one was this SMT marked also decisional? This one? Yes, this one is an SMT. Perfect. So inducement to the previous day, what can I say? We can expect a nice little reaction, as the inducement is quite great, so I will expect a good reaction, right? So you can say that that is a major inducement. Now what I'll do is alright, so this is the previous day for it. So far I don't see any valid. So what do I see? I see a bit of liquidity up there, and then I see a nice little inducement going into this point of interest, and then we have another break of structure right there. With that, what do I see? I see another inducement going back into this range. So I'm just connecting my inducements, right? So this would be one of the liquidity areas, right? Points.
Is that a double bottom?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So now, right? So now I also have this as an SMT, right? So this would be an SMT for me for sure. There's like no reason for me to trade that, because we do have quite bad price action above it, build up of liquidity, and then again, right? So this, I think this was something bad. Lord. Cool. So we do have also a double bottom right there, so sort of resistance right up there, and then what do I see? I see a nice little build up of channel, right? So far is the liquidity that I marked like okay to you guys? Like, you understand this?
Yeah, perfect.
Perfect. So now I do have this weaker zone, which I said that a reactional zone that can give a reaction, a tradable reaction. Obviously it's not always going to be like a good choice to trade from these zones, but yeah, that's what I do expect. And then I expect this low to be taken out for the buys, right? And then that's it. I'll just play there. So far still it's not like my window, so I'll just wait. There we go. So the learning session just opened, and then what do I see? I see a nice little inducement in Frankfurt, right? And then with that, I just missed this one. So we had this trend line, first tap, second tap, and then third tap, and then trend line breakout, with this low being as an inducement, right? Let me just mark this in right. These both, right? So is this good, right? So and there would be your inducement. Probably this would be a smart money trap. And then what do we have? We have kind of liquidity inducement to there. Where is this way going? It's going into this mitigation of the IFC level. So now if I want to look for the continuations, I want to look for this inducement PI to get mitigated. And you see that price is kind of generating like quite liquidity. Probably it's not that much, but sort of like support level. Let's just raise that price. There we go. Induced it, didn't mitigate it. So far I'm just waiting, right? If price mitigates this zone, then I'll look to enter. Otherwise I'll just wait for anything clear, or I'll just like change my pair, right? So far, there we go. Nice. There we go. So again, what we did, we induced early buyers. So everyone who's saying that all right, price is moving away after this inducement is going to get trapped, and then this low is doing what? This low is inducing the point of interest, which is just below it, and then I can just go in there, refine it to this level, which is an M1, right? And then we can start to build a narrative, right? So we have what we do have a double top minor resistance forming. We do have this liquidity, and then we do have this liquidity. So this would be your target, as I'll say, because this, I think this would be an H1 or H4 SMT. So this can give a minor or a good reaction, right, depending on the price that is forming on that day, right? go. So yeah, now I'll expect the buy. So I still want to be careful of this inducement level. So two scenarios in my mind, right? Either we go buys from here, which I'm pretty confident to take a risk, and then I do have the same scenario for this one. For the regarding the sells, I don't see any valid sells, right? And that is how I will look to trade this one. So I think this is nice. Price should not go below this zone. I hope so. But yeah, let's just try to target it. So let's just identify our targets. Break even would be this one after this double bottom is double top is taken, and then the final TP would be this one. Obviously, and I hope so. Let's just see what price is doing. All right, so still for me these are the SMTs, so price is reacting to those SMTs, and I think we kind of missed this one. So yeah, I'll just then remove this one. So that is how I'll trade this zero. I hope it's clear.
Yeah, thanks. It's clear now.
Perfect. So you guys have any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Perfect.
So you
Go
have
ahead.
a zone, right, for buy?
Which one?
So after on the 1 minute.
This one. Yep. This right.
No,
Yeah.
not this one.
Yeah.
On
The confirmation. The
it is not
confirmation.
mitigated.
Yeah. This one. The confirmation one. Yep. Go ahead.
After taking that high, whether that zone will be an SMT.
All right. Cool. So for me, a zone is valid till I see the recent liquidity is protected. So let's just say that if I'll draw in somewhere there, so we have sort of liquidity, and then I do have a zone right in there. So I want to take the trade right till this liquidity is intact, like price didn't take out this liquidity. For me, like price can do somewhere range there, comes back and then goes down. But if price took out this liquidity, then I need to be cautious of this zone, because then there would be no liquidity for this zone, right, for price to attract lower. So what can we say is that price can induce that zone, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So that zone might be an SMT, if you say.
Which one? This one?
Yeah.
Yes, this can be an SMT as well, right? All right, so yeah, any other questions, guys?
What time frames do you normally use, if you don't mind me asking?
I
know
use-
you have all of those.
Yeah, I do have, because I do cryptos as well, so that is why I do have the daily, the weekly as well for those. But usually the go-to time frames are the 1 minute, 5 minute, and then from the 1 hour 30 minutes. That is, I do go to 15 minute when the 5 minute is kind of quite choppy, right? Otherwise, I do use these 4 time frames. Yeah, let's just go on M5 and see what price is going to do. Right, there we go. Let's just say, all right, so we had our zone right there, right, if I'm not wrong. So let's just say that price took out, all right, so price also took out this SMT's liquidity as well, and we can pretty much trade this reaction as well, right? Probably after the proper confirmation. So right, I just want to see the lower zones, and I'd like to show you guys the lower zones as well. So build up of liquidity there. Now what do I see? Obviously I'm not trading this like this time window as well, so now probably like this to go lower. That would make sense for me. There we go. Damn, nice one. And yes, I think we did took out this liquidity down there. Nope, we didn't. Cool. Any other questions that you guys have now? Now, why is this zone is still intact as that? Why do I see a normal SMC breakup structure? They'll be buying from this order block, which is just above our right the inducement point of interest. So we do have liquidity below this low, which is induced into this one, and then this is also this is also a nice little M5 order block as well, though. So you can get a nice little entry from here till this low, and then look for the buys. Though for me, this would be a nice little sell entry from there to this, probably a 4-hour trade. I don't take any trade which is less than 5 hour, but yeah. And then if I try to play the price action, so it will just quite range, right? Cool. Any other questions, guys? All right. How do you use Asian session in Frankfurt? I just look in Asia, like what are we doing? So this is the Asia session, right? So mostly there are two cases in Asia, right? Either price creates a false trend, right? Or price took an inducement. You can say that inducement of an important level and there in Asia, and then we start to see the continuation from the Asia. That is it. I don't trade Frankfurt. Usually Frankfurt is mostly a build-ups of the early buyers or sellers. Explain EP and IP more. So the EPS and IPS are the simple, right? Those are the breakout structure points. So let's just say that price is in a lower trend, so we do have lows and highs, and what I do want to say is that the price to return to the last lower low level, if I'm not wrong, this is a lower low, right, to this level to efficient this structure in the market, right? So if it's not efficient, it is something like this, price can always use this high as an inducement for it to go higher and then to go lower. That is simply the EPA and IPA levels. All right, good.
I have a question to ask.
Yep.
Yeah, if you mark a valid POI during the London session and it is not mitigated within the London session, do you still consider it a valid POI for the New York session or not?
I do consider it valid. The condition is that it should have liquidity. If the POI is without the liquidity, I'll just avoid it.
For example, this day that you were just doing, you marked out the POI in the London session, almost in the London session, and then it got mitigated in the New York session.
Wait, this
right
one,
next to
this?
Yeah, this one.
Yep,
yeah.
yep. So you see that we did create liquidity, which I just explained, that SMC breakout structure, they'll be entering from there. This is a nice classic SMT, which is inducing what? Which is inducing this POI down. So this POI is having what?
For a
Yep, go ahead.
For a POI to have value to you, you need for it to be mitigated with vectors, and the reaction should be vectors.
Yeah, so you see that if I go on M1, right, and try to show you, so you see that we came down as a vector, right? So we had oh man, let me just delete all this mess, right? So we do have this low, right? See that how we took out this low. We took out this low with the vector push into this POI mitigation, and then see how we reject from that within the same vector push. So this adds a nice confidence for me. This would be a breakout structure, right? So you guys can enter on this so you guys can enter on this mitigation of this point of interest, which is also having sort of liquidity area that is there. Yep. And then the targets would be probably somewhere there. Cool. So yeah, any other questions you guys have?
How tight do you make your stop loss? Like, you try to make it like 10 pips? Like, what's your ideal stop loss? You don't mind me asking.
All right. So my stop loss, it mostly depends on the zone size, right? I just go with the zones, right? On the confirmation zones. That's it. Like this zone is probably down in here, right? This would be like 2.9 pips probably. I'll just like try to round off it around like there's 3 or 3.5 pip, including this low as well. So that is how I just like take the stop loss, based on the zone sizes.
Got you. Okay.
Good.
So with this strategy, you're not really too like worried about like market structure in a way. Like breaker structure, but you're not really worried about like higher highs, higher lows. And
Yeah. No. We aren't worried about the high highs and high lows. Yep. We just use those points as an inducement, right? So probably most of the guys would be selling from there. So if I can show you that this would be a nice little higher time frame SMT, So a 4 hour as well, probably. Yeah, so see that, like a nice looking zone for those to trade, right? And then I'll also show you the reaction. That's why I said that it's like kind of riskier to take a buy position which is like quite near it. Let's just play the price there. So you see that if you guys are if you guys are planning, right, to probably buy from somewhere in there, right, which is quite near to the SMT, the fact is that this is a hard time from SMT, right? So this could give a strong reaction. Probably this would be a nice M1 reaction, like a nice M1 trade reaction. But yeah, you need to be aware of that thing, right? So if anyone who's entered right in there, he would have made a nice 8 or 7 hour trade, right? So you just need to be cautious of like probably buying from in these point of interest, right? So this would be your inducement right there. Probably. So that is why I saw that in early, right? And then obviously vector push up there, we have this like liquidity as well. So now the same thing starts, right? There we go. I just marked all those stuff earlier. Yep, there we go. Yep. So any other questions?
Yeah, can you please talk about the liquidity levels that you are using?
The liquidity levels is the liquidity levels, is that correct? Can you repeat the question again, bro?
No, can you please explain about that liquidity levels? So I have a challenge of taking the trades based on the breakup structure. Okay,
Good.
It is take me out and it will go to profit.
Yeah. So that is what an inducement is, right? You notice that the inducement, that your breakout structure, that any of this stuff that you try to enter and get induced, that inducement is going to be towards an important level. That is what the let is about, right? So you can say that we do use structure and we don't use structure. So it's just like all about like seeing the liquidity and understanding that where is the liquidity. Imbalance, right? So if it hasn't like an imbalance, it just have like, you can say that an attraction for price to come like probably a high probability POI, but having imbalance doesn't like mean that if the POI is not having imbalance doesn't mean that it is not a POI, right? And imbalances adds like bit surety to the POI that it will get mitigated, right? So yeah, I do look for the imbalances with the POI, but sometimes I do take trades off the way based off the wicks, some sort of inducement stuff, right? So yeah, it's all like subjective what I'm trying to see in the markets.
What indicators do you use? Just the timing, or you use entry confirmation as well?
I do have this entry confirmation, but I just don't use it. It's like kind of bad because if it worked like one time for me, let's just say that I had the let in there and it works one time for me, I'll try to get into every trade which is having the lit, so that just spoils my trading plan. I'm having it, but I don't use it. You won't see it on any of my trades that I'll share or do backtest with.
Okay.
I do have this like the trading shelter imbalance. It just looks good on the charts, right? But it's just an imbalance indicator. So yeah, it just looks good with the blue and green blocks. That is why I'm having that indicator as well.
Does the daily cycles work, or is everything about only liquidity?
Right, so daily cycles are, you can say that they both work together, the liquidity and the daily cycles. Same, let's just say that. Yep. So we do have what? We do have whipsaw, we do have the, I don't know what they call, like the classic setup, the Asia high or low gets induced, and then we do have
London knockout,
yeah, London knockout, and then we do have this the retail heavens.
retail haven.
Yep, that's it. They do work, but they work with the liquidity, and they both work together, right? Hand in hand. Which day? This one, like I just said it, right? When it is quite near to some sort of supply zone, I just try to avoid this sells. Buys in there. Though I can look for sells in the New York, which was perfect, as I explained earlier. For this day, we have inducement of everything right there, and then we do have a nice M1 entry over there as well. So that would be your perfect trade of that day. Where is that? There we go. So in there though, didn't get a proper tap of that extreme zone, but yeah, you won't get you won't get like into every trade. So yep, but sales in there would be some great. If you use other entry criterias, there would be like this would be a good sales, right? Again, inducement of the early sellers trying to fake the move, right? So now double top there, liquidity generated. Where is this coming right? It got down, mitigated this demand zone, which is having an inducement of this, induce there. We could look for potential buys to target this both. Double top right there, and then we have the reaction. Then you see the same reaction, right? So we have this inducement vector, and then we have the rejection with a vector push. That is what I do look for as well. Yep. Good. So any other questions, guys?
This Asia zone, people say that we can look at the daily buys from that zone. We can see through it. How to read the Asia zone?
The Asia zone, or you mean the Asia session?
Asia session.
Yeah, so as I said, mostly we do have the most occurring, right? So we'll usually see a false trend in the Asia session inducing buyers after an inducement and mitigation to the left, which is this nice letter, and then it is having an internal inducement as well. And then I'm not trading this whole window, so I'll be out, and then I'll come once I see this one there, inducement with the internal, and probably a nice little entry there. I know like it's quite dumb there, but yeah, that is my timing, so I won't just like try to sell in there.
And I always have problem with NY session, cause I don't know if it's gonna be NY continuation or it's gonna be NY reversal. So how do we know? Is it, do we just look at liquidity, or
Sorry, can you repeat it a bit slower?
yeah, NY session, how do we know if it's gonna be continuation or a reversal?
Right,
'Cause
so it
most
also
of the
like
time
so it also depends on the liquidity, where the liquidity is resting, right? So it could be something like this. Sorry, what is this, man? Because let me just draw a nice little diagram in there. So we do have an Asia session, we do have an inducement level down there, and inducement level down up there, right? Let's just say that London takes out this liquidity. We have this, right? Probably New York can get a reaction, probably either reverse, or what can we see is that we can see a bit of the liquidity, which is like this for any point of interest up there. So in that case, New York can also continue. So it's all like dependent on the liquidity and the lit cycle. So in there, what is going to be a lit cycle? It is going to be build up of liquidity, a nice inducement to the left, but this is also a valid entry, but you need to know where your exit is going to be. It's not going to be this one. We do have this valid like trend line as well, an upper trend line, and then we induce that into this valid mitigation. So now New York can sell off from there as well. So it's all depend on liquidity as well. Yep,
Do you
guy.
prefer to trade
Yes.
currencies or
Alright,
the
so
indices? I see your chart. You do have obviously gold and other stuff, but
yeah, I do trade. Man,
what pairs
I don't
does
trade
this
this one.
work the best on currencies only or
No, it works
what
on
other?
it works on every right pair. I don't trade the AU. I just don't like it, man. The I trade the gold. I trade the EU, GU, Nasdaq, US 30, probably, right?
Mm-hmm.
When do you stop looking at a pair for your entries? Like, for example, you came at during the London session and you were looking at EU, but you didn't see anything in EU, so you won't be looking at EU for the rest of the day.
No, I'll like try to come in the New York session, and I'll see like if it is right. EU is like you can say that I'm making something worthy to watch it. If that's the case, I'll definitely wait for the EU. Otherwise, I'll just go to some sort of indices for it or a new pair which is good in the New York session.
So for someone who likes to have the least amount of pairs, what do you recommend and which two?
Alright, so the pairs, right? You don't have a lot of pairs so that you miss out on the trades, and you don't have quite less pairs so you force the trades, right? It should be like balanced. And the pairs, right, it's personal preference. Some of the guys trade JJ pairs, some trades gold, some trades EU solely, some trades quite a few different pairs. But for me, I have these as my main pairs. So EUG on us, Dow Jones, and then the gold.
Does this work on I know you said you trade crypto. Does this work on Bitcoin? Like
Yes, it does. Let's just go to the Bitcoin and let's see ourselves. D.B. Oh man. Yep. It's like kind of the same concepts, right? It works. You'll see the same like what do you say, the cycles happening on it as well. Kind of nice. Yes, it does work, bro.
So technically, I could trade 7 days a week on Bitcoin.
Yeah, but why you won't trade like 7 days?
Nah, I was just playing. But
Yeah. It does work actually. You just adapt to those pairs. Good. Any other questions you guys have? Or we'll just end this one and I'll upload it like in a while.
Can you
Hello.
please explain a bit about your profit targets? Take profit targets.
Good. And the other one?
oh, I have one. Can you elaborate on what's because I was watching Reem and there's certain mitigation areas you're not supposed to take. He said. So I was wondering if you could like go over that so I could see, so we could all see like which one is a good mitigation area and which one isn't.
Alright, so as I said, a good mitigation area would be the one which is having the liquidity, right? And a bad is the one which won't have like any sort of liquidity, right? That is pretty much it for me. And then the profit targets, right, bro? So the partial zones, I tend to take partials at the all right, so break even at the nearest liquidity point. Let's just say that where is this one? Let's just take an example of this one, right? So we do have the main liquidity target, which is going to be this low, which is right the bigger where is that? So which is this whole right build up of liquidity inducement into there. So for me to go break even would be this inducement or this liquidity area, and then the targets would be the Asian low as a partials, and then the final target would be this main liquidity. So yeah, that is pretty much it for my profit targets. And yeah, you can like take partials based on the fixed risk to reward ratios and stuff.
For gold, what time frame you use? Do
On
you use higher time frames or only the time frames? Because
on gold,
I find it hard to trade in higher time frames as it's gold random rupiah.
so yeah, I use the same time frames for all those pairs. So the intraday time frame for me is going to be M5. The higher time frames H1, right, 30 minutes, and then if M5 is not clear, I just move towards M15 to mark my points, and then M1 for the entries. That's it for all the pairs. I don't use the lit or EDM, bro, so I can't like really tell you anything about those two. I do have this indicator, but I never use it, so it's just there. Yep. Any other question, guys? Perfect. If we
What
don't, yep.
It's M1 cycles. I don't.
What is M1 cycles? So it's just the same. It's just the same cycle. Like, let's just say that we do have this sort of consolidation, which we can say that as an accumulation or a build up, relative highs and lows. In inducements of build up phase, inducement phase, mitigation phase, right? So the same thing, but on M1. That's it. There is no different cycle.
When you're looking at the 5, how do you know if it's taking enough liquidity to do like a reversal?
Good. I'll just go. Alright, so how do I know that enough liquidity is taken? Right, so let's just say that, where is that? I have an inducement point, right? Price is building towards that inducement point, induced it with the vector, right? And at that moment I want to see to the left, where is it reacting to? So if it is reacting to a nice value zone, then I can expect that price can be headed towards this low, right? So that is how. And then if it's sort of any weaker zone, an SMT, anything like that, so in that case I'll just consider this as a small reaction, a weaker reaction, probably inducement of this, and then we can again go up. Alright, so how are you gonna alright, so yeah, you'll identify that if it's going to be a continuation or the reversal, just like I said in this case, right? And then again, it's also the liquidity, right? So probably an inducement internal low there as well. With this would be coming, let's just say that this is also coming from some sort of inducement point of interest, and then we had this a reaction from the weaker zone up there after an inducement, or the reaction from a valid zone after a proper inducement, which one is going to hold. Obviously the one with the valid mitigation and the inducement, right? So this would be your pullback, this would be your reversal trade, right? Obviously this also depends on the how price is forming from this low to this high. Cool, I hope it's clear, right? So yeah, I'll just I think we're done with the questions now. I'll end this one, right? And then I'll try to upload this right quick.
Yeah, thanks for the session, man.
No worries,
It was
bro.
helpful.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it, man. For real,
No
for real.
worries. When is the next one? Probably I'll try to do the next one on the next weekend. I hope so. If I'm available, right, I'll try my best to do it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, that'd
worries.
be great, man.
No worries, guys.